As you look into building a new shop, barn, or garage, you've probably got some questions, you've maybe got some concerns about things, some things that are unanswered. And in this video, we're gonna answer 3 of those questions for you to help start you on the process of find out all the information you need so you can make the right choices when you build a shop, barn, or garage. How thick should your shop floor be? It's a great question. And my question to you is, what are you using the shop for? But really, for the most of the time, what we're doing is a 6-inch floor in a shop, and that's plenty for bringing in tractors, semis, any of that sort of thing. It's reinforced with rebar, solid floor. Now, if you're running like D11s or something in there all the time, you might want a thicker floor, you might want to go with an 8-inch. And another thing to take into consideration is if you're mounting lifts, if you have interior bearing walls, that sort of thing, that's gonna maybe thicken up the slab just in that area. But that's something to take into consideration as well. What size overhead door is the standard size, or what size overhead door should I put in my shop? Again, that totally depends on what you're putting in it. But on an acreage shop, what I always recommend is going with a 14 by 14 overhead door. And so a 14-foot door is gonna fit anything that's road legal. So let's say you got a building here, 14 by 14 overhead door, you're gonna need a 16-foot ceiling. So this is the 14-foot door. You're gonna need a 16-foot ceiling because we need 2 feet here. Now we can do a lower clearance one and you can squeak that down a little bit if you have to, but ideally we want 2 feet in between the top of the overhead door and the top of the ceiling. You're gonna have like your overhead door operator, and you're gonna have like your springs in here and the tracks and everything, right? So that's what that 2 feet's for, is you're gonna need the room for that stuff. In a garage, standard garage door size is like 8-foot garage door. So there's a couple options you can do. You could do, like, say, double car garage. What you could do is you could put 2 8-foot doors in, or what you could do, and I would recommend in a double garage, is to do 16 by 8. That way you can still bring in 2 vehicles, but you can also bring stuff in and you don't have this middle post in the way, right? So that's what I'd recommend in a garage. But the height of 8 feet is a little low. Like a lot of F350s and stuff, 1-ton trucks aren't gonna fit through a 8-foot door. So I would recommend a 10-foot door. Pretty much in any garage is to do a 10-foot door. And 10 by 10 is a nice size if you just have a single car garage. And if it's a double, do something like that where it's a bit wider, like a 20 by 10 or a 16 by 10. How high should the ceiling be? We always recommend a 16-foot ceiling. And the reason we recommend a 16-foot ceiling is because you can fit a 14-foot door. And a 14-foot door clears road legal. Now, when would you want a higher ceiling is if you're putting a loft, living quarters, mezzanine in there. So with a 16-foot ceiling, let's say this is your 16-foot wall right here, and you want to put a floor in here. This is going to take up at least 12 inches. So you've got at least a foot eaten up there. So say you want 8 feet underneath here, so you've got 8 feet. Now you've got a foot here. That means you're only left with 7 feet. If the total of this is 16. That might be fine, you know, if you're just storing a few parts or tools up there, or stuff that you never touch, or you're just forklifting your sleds up there or something in the winter, that might be fine. But it isn't great if you want to live up there, or you want to put a man cave up there, or a she shed, or something like that. What I would do is go with 18 or 20. So if you go with 20, you can go with 10 down here. You're going to use up a foot there, and you can go with 9 up here. Now you've got nice ceilings. You've got 10-foot ceiling down here. So you can actually pull stuff underneath there if you had to like pull a vehicle in there or a small tractor or whatever. And above here you've got a nice 9-foot ceiling, which gives you a lot more headroom. Doesn't feel so crammed. So that's my recommendation when it comes to ceiling height and lofts.